remove anxiety when you think of that. That's the worst case scenario. That's it? I can handle that. Abraham Lincoln, Henry Ford, Walt Disney, Milton Hershey, Burt Reynolds, H.G. Heinz, P.T. Barnum, all multiple bankruptcies. Henry Ford, one of my favorite stories. He had $10,000. He was about to lose everything. Entered in an automobile race. Guess what the entry fee was? $10,000. 9 other racers, because the pot was $100,000. Now think of that, $100,000 in like 1912. How much is that? A lot of money, okay? $100,000. He gets in the race. Did you think at any moment he planned to lose? No. You're not going to pony up 10 grand if you expect to lose. You plan to win. And he won. And that's where Ford Motor Corp came from, right? So are you willing to go all in if it's up to you to win? They did. They did okay. Donald Trump, first bankruptcy of his hotel casino empire occurred in the early 90s to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. His second business bankruptcy occurred in 2004, this time to the tune of $1.8 billion. Somebody mentioned that they wanted to learn the art of the deal the other day. Who was that? They said the art of the deal. Has anybody read this book? The Art of the Deal? Okay. Do you guys know what Donald Trump did with his casinos, the Taj Mahal and others over there, to get himself out of that situation? He didn't go bankrupt. That's the misnomer. He didn't file bankruptcy. No, he called his creditors. And he said, hey, your interest rates are killing me. So you've got 2 choices. You can either reduce my interest rates, give me a couple of months of reprieve without having to pay you so I can take the revenue from the casinos, re-spruce, retool, re-engineer, and move forward, or you can have the keys. Yeah. What do you think the bank said? We'll work something out, Donald. You know, you need to relax, guy. Go shopping for a new hairpiece. It'll be fine. We'll work it out, right? Okay? That's what Donald Trump did to get out of it. Because bankruptcy is not the worst case scenario. Bankruptcy is the reason America is great. Do you know what we had before bankruptcy? Debtor's prison. Now that's a reason to be concerned. If it were debtor prison, I would not be in business because I am too good looking for jail. Robert Kiyosaki, late 1970s, deeply in debt. He was using credit cards to live on. He used a home equity loan to invest in his business and lost it all. He remembers when he was nearly $700,000 in debt. One evening, I attempted to check into a motel in upstate New York, and my credit card was declined. I slept in the car that night. Many people might say that it was a horrible experience, but that isn't true. It was a wake-up call. It was clearly time to look in the mirror and face who I really was. I realized that if I was going to be tough on me, the world would take on the job. If I wasn't going to be tough on me, the world would take on the job. Anybody read Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Great book. Okay, that's really what spurred me into what I do in real estate. It said if you want to be successful, you got to associate with wealthy, successful people who can teach you and train you, right? And the other thing he said is you've got to develop multiple streams of income. Now, when you're making $3.90 an hour at a grocery store and you get paid once every other Friday, that's one stream of income. And it's really hard to move outside of that box because this is what you're used to. But when you understand multiple streams of income, the risk goes down extremely. Because if this one isn't paying at that particular moment, this one is. And if this one stops paying, maybe by now this one's back. You guys should have multiple streams. Rental income, mortgage income, bill, funding loans, getting paid monthly, investing in businesses, starting businesses, buying inventory, reselling inventory. These are all things that produce multiple streams of income. That should be another goal for you. Okay? If you have one right now, plan on 2. If you have 2 right now, get 4. How do you get 4? Buy 4 properties, all with tenants. That's multiple streams of income. Okay? And George Foreman, in the 80s, former heavyweight boxing champion George Foreman was on the verge of bankruptcy. Fear of financial ruin drove him to re-enter the boxing ring at the age of 45, and he began his heavyweight title against Michael Moore in 1994. You want to remember this fight? Yeah. The second chance at success enabled him to pay off millions of dollars of debt and launch a new career as an entrepreneur, hawking George Foreman grills. Millions have been sold. So he went back in the ring. He said, you know what? If I'm not hard on myself, the world's going to be hard on me. So I'm going to volunteer to go take some shots. Gets a bunch of money, goes and invests in the George Foreman grill, and now he gets paid millions of dollars annually just in royalties. He's got no oversight, no management, nothing. You guys really willing to step in the ring, take some shots? Okay. So how do you avoid failures? Well, you could do nothing. You can't fail if you don't try, right? Or you could stay in your box, right? The box is safe. But don't you think the box is boring? I mean, that's why I dropped out of college. I just thought, oh, I can't stand the thought of working at the same job and doing the same thing day in and day out. I would pull my hair out. I don't know if you guys never wear this, but I have ADHD. You too? Yeah. It's pray for me, right? What were we talking about? Okay. Number 3, quit college, or quit when you see possible challenges. Avoid failure. Several years ago, I had hired a marketing guy for my home building company. I was in Salt Lake City at the time. We were building houses there. And anybody familiar with Salt Lake City at all? Okay. Where Salt Lake City sits, you can drive about 2 hours west and land in a little town called Wendover. Okay? Wendover. It sits right inside the border between Utah and Nevada, and it's a little gambling town. A bunch of casinos, Peppermill and some others. So my marketing manager goes over to the casinos and says, hey, why don't we put together a promotion where you guys advertise a free home. We'll call it the Home Free Home Giveaway. And all summer long, you can sell slot machine tickets and everything else. And then when somebody wins, you give Venturi Homes, our home building company, $200,000. And we will build for the winner a house worth $260,000. Sound pretty good? Now with this, you will put us on every advertisement, every billboard, every television commercial, every radio spot. So when you consider that to build a $260,000 house is going to cost us about $215,000, and they're giving us $200,000, what am I paying for all that media? 15 grand. Is that pretty cheap media? Yeah. So I'm like, all right, Matt, this seems like a pretty good deal. So the promotion begins. And we go through the entire summer, and we go out to the casinos, and there's this big hoorah, and we've got all these homes with doors, and you open up the door with a key. If you put enough money in the slot machine, you got a key. And if your key opened the door, you won the house. So me and a bunch of staff, I think Regan was there, Justin, you were there. We go over to Wendover, Nevada, and the winner wins, and everything's great, and the casinos wire us $200,000 into our bank account. Things are good, right? So we're working with the winner, we're building the home, everything's going great, until we start writing checks to subcontractors that are bouncing. There's $200,000 in that account. Why are these checks bouncing? This makes no sense. So I start researching, and I ask the bank to forward me the checks of what's gone out of the account. And sure enough, the checks arrive, and there's my name right there on them. But I didn't sign it. So after I do a little bit more digging, I discovered that the gentleman I had hired as my partner for the home building company was embezzling money out the back door. So let's review. I've done a marketing promotion with the casinos, promising to deliver a house worth $260,000, which I no longer have the funds to produce. Did I mention that they're mob run? And without knees, guys, I'd be very short. And I'm very concerned. Now, at this point, I could have run, I could have fled, I could have cried, but instead, I called up the CEO of the casino. And I said, we have a problem, and I'd like to meet with you. He said, okay. So I drove out the 2 hours to Wendover, Nevada, and I met with the guy, and I explained to him, this is what has happened. I said, and I'm going to do everything I can to make this right. I said, but it may take me longer to deliver the completed product because I'm now going to have to do it out of my own cash. And he said, you know what, Lee, I appreciate that. Sorry that this has happened. I wish I could help you, but I can't. Just let us know when you deliver the home. So I went to all of the subs whose checks had bounced. After reading Art of the Deal, I said, you know what, I'm going to negotiate just like Trump did, because you do what successful people do. I went back to every supplier, every material man, every person, even the agents and the title companies that were involved, and I got them all to shave off their fees so that I could afford to pay cash to complete the home and deliver it to the winner. You don't quit when it gets tough. You fight through it. And when you got the mob after you, you do it faster. Procrastinate. If you don't finish, you can't fail and don't want anything. If you want to avoid failure, you cannot want anything. Desire and passion set you up for failure. If you don't want it, it won't hurt if you don't get it, right? Now, I don't appreciate when people confuse humility for lazy. That's not humility, right? Well, I would like to have nicer things, but Mother Teresa of Calcutta, she didn't even have a home. And all I have is what I need, and that's all I want. Really? Are you kidding me? You can't even afford Pollo Loco on that salary. And that's a crime, because El Pollo Loco is delicious. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Bob, Pollo Loco, delicious? I took Bob to Pollo Loco for the first time on Tuesday. He loved it. He ate all the chicken, which really pissed me off, but I'll go back. Or learn from other mistakes. Find the most successful person in the room, your church or sphere of influence, and ask them to mentor you. Now, one of the things that I do when I meet people I respect and I want to learn from is I ask them what it would cost me to buy a day of their time. What would it cost me to buy a day of your time? Just recently, the hedge fund manager out of New York that I mentioned in New York, I met her because her fiance is a friend of mine. Some of you know him. You guys know Bob Diamond? Bob Diamond, okay. Bob Diamond is engaged to a beautiful lady who works in Wall Street. And so he's telling me about, what's her name? Eva. Telling me about this Eva person and all that she had done. I said, wow, Bob, that's incredible. I said, is there any way you could get Eva to come out and spend 4 hours with us? I would just like to pick her brain and see what kind of advice she could give me. And Bob said, tell you what, Lee, Memorial Day or Labor Day is coming up. Tell you what, you buy plane tickets for Eva and I to come out and spend the weekend at Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. We put them up in the resort. He said, I'll have Eva spend 4 hours with you if you'll spend 4 hours with me working on my business. Good trade? Okay. This would have never happened if I didn't have a consultative attitude about people smarter than me. I want to hang out with people that are smarter than me. But I also know the value of their time, and I would never expect to get any of it for free, because free has no value. Now, what's interesting is oftentimes they will offer it for free because they see a mutual benefit or a value, but if they want paid, I'll pay them. Do you have that same philosophy about consulting in your business? I can't tell you the number of people. It seems like the last 6 months at our office has been a revolving door of consultants that we just keep flying in from all over the country to help us look at our business. What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What can we tweak? What can we change? How can we grow faster? Consultants get you there. A consultant, someone whose hindsight can be your foresight. Here's what a consultant does for you. They make you tougher. It pushes you into uncharted territory, forces you to grow exponentially, helps you to become nicer and more compassionate. You can learn how to balance the tough business act with helping people in need. How do you think a consultant would help you be nicer and more compassionate? Anyone? Raphael? How? That seems weird. How is a consultant going to make me nicer? Okay. Okay. Good. Good. I like that. Here's how. Let me give it to you because we're running out of time here. Here's how a consultant makes you nicer. A consultant has been where you've been. A consultant has seen what you've seen. And when you encounter a hurdle, what are they saying to you? It's going to be fine. Just relax. It's not that big of a deal. We're going to work through it. We're going to call the CEO of this company, we're going to sit down, we're going to chat, we're going to figure out a solution to this thing. Without a consultant, you're left to your own devices, which typically consist of, right? And then you start going to all your friends and family going, I don't know what I'm going to do. This is a horrible idea. And then your friends and family are sitting there going, I told you not to start that company. Am I right? Okay? You've got to have somebody that's higher than you, that is where you are, that is looking, going, just relax. Calm down. If I had to record all of the calls that I've had with my consulting clients over the years, I think the number one word you would hear is, just relax. Calm down. You're acting like a chicken with its head cut off. Relax, right? And you need that in your business. You'll become richer. You'll start thinking bigger and richer than you did before. You'll become less petty. You'll get over the small stuff that is holding you back. Pettiness is a time and money stealer. You'll learn how to let it roll off your back, and you'll be reminded to network and collaborate with others. You don't have to do this alone. Many like-minded people are available to help you accomplish this goal. Now, when I went out to New York and met with Fortress out there and some other hedge funds, I had no visions of developing a business that would deploy billions of dollars a year. I didn't, admittedly. It was not a goal of mine. But when I went to Fortress and I showed them the plan, they go, man, this is a great idea. We really like this. Call us when you're moving $40 million a month. And I went, $40 million a month? That's a good idea. $40 million a month. Why couldn't I do $400 million a month? $4 billion's a nice number. I think we should do $4 billion a month, right? Until I had that encounter, my horizon had not been expanded. I was still kind of stuck in, I'm doing pretty good. And then I go to these guys and they make me feel like I'm this big. Like, what are you, from Cortland, Idaho? And, hey, thanks, guys. You know, the air is very clean. Consultants separate the implementers and wannabe. Implementers, success counted in deals completed, a proven track record. Wannabes, success counted in degrees and pedigree. One of the jokes that Eva, the hedge fund manager, told me when she came to Coeur d'Alene, she said, do you know how to tell if somebody's graduated from Harvard? Do you guys know how to tell? She said, they will tell you within 5 minutes of the introduction. I went, oh. And what's funny is when you travel in New York and you meet people, hey, how you doing? I'm Lee Arnold. Who are you? Oh, I'm Robert. I went to Harvard. Oh, hi. Hi, Robert. Good for you. I went to Spokane Falls Community College. Yeah. Soon to encompass Harvard's glory. Implementers push the envelope, stretch proven designs. Wannabes follow rules, play it safe. Implementers applaud success and work to emulate it. Wannabes are jealous of other success. Implementers spend money to enhance self and business. Wannabes don't invest in success. If I were to come out to your house and look at your balance sheet, how much money this year was spent on consumables and non-appreciating liabilities versus how much was spent on investments? And of the money invested, what kind of return are you yielding from those investments? Have you ever had anybody analyze your book like that? It's very humiliating, just so you know. Because we are very good at making ourselves feel like we're doing really well until you have your books audited. And then they go, you're kind of dumb. And I go, thank you, that's so very nice of you. What can I do different? If I screwed it up, how do I make it better? And that's a question you should ask. Here's the problem. Most of the people you know right now could not give you the right answer to the question. My business is hemorrhaging cash. How do I make it better? Oh man, you should just quit that and go get a job. Right? No, you need somebody that's going to go, you're hemorrhaging cash because you're investing dollars in marketing that's not producing a reliable return. If you drop $1,000 or 1,000 pieces of mail, what is the inbound volume of the call? How many leads are being produced? How long does it take the lead from where you get it to where it becomes monetized and you get paid? And how often is that happening? And that's how we look at your business. We say, what are you doing that's working? What are you doing that's not working? And what could we do to pour some rocket fuel on your business and make it better? 2 things you can do to make your business better. Spend less, make more. Okay? Now, you cannot make more before you spend less. So you got to go into your business and find out where you're hemorrhaging cash. Many of you are paying monthly fees for websites and services that you don't use. You want a proven, reliable way to generate an extra $500 a month in your business? You ready for it? The credit card that you take to seminars with you, cancel it. Because all of those monthly fees that you've been paying for stopped getting paid. But Lee, my business will shut down. I need those sites. Really? How many leads have come through those sites? How much money have you generated as a result of those leads? Are you paying for leads that you're not effectively working? Because if you're not, stop spending the money. Where are you niching? Who's your target demographic? Who's the customer you want to pursue? Are you investing dollars to obtain them? And if you're not getting paid, stop doing it. You with me? Okay? Spend money to enhance self-business. Implementers, control environment and time. Wannabes give time away, have no boundaries. Implementers have an accountability partner. Wannabes rely only on self. Implementers, language of will and do. Wannabes, language of could and should and one day I will. Implementers say no and over-deliver. Wannabes overcommit and under-deliver. If you are a salesperson, you are probably hanging out on the right side of the screen because I meet a lot of salespeople who are time wasters. You want to know how I know? Because they travel to appointments. I don't travel. You want to meet with me? You come to my office. You come into my domain where I am king. I don't travel. Because when I travel, I lose the upper hand. I want them coming to me so that I can be the man. Also, have you considered the costs of travel? Fuel, car insurance, airplane tickets, hotels. Travel's expensive. And I would rather pay someone else's travel costs to come to me than pay my travel costs to go to them. Because if I'm flying to them, I got 8 hours in an airplane. I could have been on the phone making calls, generating leads, creating income. So you've got to value time. Okay? Implementers believe good is good enough, are lifetime learners, have useful and strategic partners, live on benchmarks and solid measurable results, and hire smarter, more talented people. I have been blessed with a staff and with a team of people who are all incredibly smarter than I am. I just get most of the credit because I do all of the talking, right? But there is not a single thing that you have seen here this weekend that I had really much of anything to do with. Even these slides weren't put together by me. I gave my input. I had a conference call. I said, this is what I want. Here's the general message. This is where we're going to funnel it into. Dory put the entire event together. Leah's doing all the accounting. Roxanne did all the calls to get you here. Dean, our CEO, made sure everything was running together and that we had the capital to put it all together. Larry manages all the team and all of the insurance benefits and the payroll and all that stuff. Why do I get the credit? Because I took the risk. And would you guys believe that there's not a single person on my payroll who makes less money than me? I'm the lowest paid person in my company. Why do you suppose that is? I'm the lowest paid person in my company. Why am I the lowest paid person? Because I am building for a bigger return. I don't need a bunch of money right now. I need good, competent, educated, talented people. And I would much rather pay them so that they can invest time into helping us grow this company than pay me. So I'm going to forego the reward now in hopes of a future reward later. Does that make me selfless? No. It makes me a business owner, right? So many of you are worried about your income. If you reduce your costs, you don't have to make as much. If you reduce your costs, you free up capital each and every month that can be used to invest in employees and products and services and software that will make your business more fluent. Are you willing to have less to eventually get more? Good. So pull out that balance sheet. Let's start cutting stuff out. Let's free up some capital so that we can do more with it. Rewire your learning and jumpstart your success. Life is not simply holding a good hand. Life is playing a poor hand well. Yeah. Any poker players in the room? Texas Hold'em? You guys watch it on TV? It's much more exciting on TV because you can see everyone's hand. And I'm a much better poker player when I'm watching on TV because I can see everyone's hand. But what's great about business, you get to see everyone's hand if you know how to make them show their hand. In negotiation, the first person to do what loses. Name a price, name a term, name a location, name a net, net. Okay? In poker, you can win with a poor hand. You can bluff. Now, I was 17 years old. I was working at the grocery store, and I was scanning groceries across the scanner thing, and this gentleman in this nice suit came through the line, and we're having a little chit-chat, and he says, you know, you're a very good-looking young man. And I went, I said, thank you. He said, I think that I would like you to come work for my company. And I went, oh, that's a nice suit. I said, well, what does your company do? He says, we manufacture products, and we sell these products, and we make a lot of money. I said, I like a lot of money. That sounds exactly like what I'm after. He says, I'm having a meeting at my house tomorrow at 7 p.m. You should stop by. All right, I'll stop by. So I show up at the door. He answers it, wearing his nice suit. His wife, who looks plastic, standing there. Hi, Lee, how are you? Come into the living room, have a seat. There was like 3 of us in the room, and he pulled out a red pen, and he started drawing circles on the whiteboard. And he said, when you join the Amway Corporation, these are the kinds of returns you could expect too. I said, do I look like I need soap? That was my experience. I thought, okay, I'll give it a shot. So I go to their big convention, right, at the convention center. And if you're in Amway, I mean, no offense, it's a fine company, it's just not for me, okay? But I learned something from Amway, and that is fake it till you make it. That's what they kept saying at this big arena, fake it till you make it. And I went, I can fake it. So I bought a suit. And here I am. So it works, right? Here's my point, okay? Some of you are so quick to show your hand. You go right into, oh, I'm struggling financially and things are horrible and I don't know how I'm ever going to survive and this is, Nobody's doing business with you, okay? You got to fake it till you make it. So when somebody asks you how you're doing, they don't really want to hear anything other than, I'm fantastic. How are you? Right? You're fantastic? Yeah. Nobody wants to hear your sob story because successful people don't like sob stories. And so you just vomit your whole troubled life on them and they're like, oh. Right? You guys have got to rise above it. Everybody's got challenges. Everybody's got problems. Everybody's got a situation. Everybody's got a reason why they can't be successful. But guess what? I don't want to hear it. And neither does anybody else that is successful. Now, if you've got a real ailment or something, hey, come, let's pray together. Let's pray on that. But you know what I love about prayer? And most people screw prayer up. You want to know why? They pray about something, and then they continue to worry about it. So let's see. The creator of the universe, who said, don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow has enough worries of its own, who also said, the sparrows of the field do not worry about what they eat or wear. Why will you? Are you not more important than they? So why would I pray and continue to worry? That's stupid. But I love prayer for the very reason that I can give it away. Give it away. Lord, I'm struggling today. And if you want to worry and complain about something, and you want to go vomit it on somebody, vomit it up, right? I just kind of got a visual of that. That's because that's what he wants, right? How many of you have kids? Okay, we got kids, right? If your kid's got a problem, do you want them to store it in and stew over it and steam over it, or do you want them to bring it to you? Bring it to me. Bring it to me. You know, if you believe that He is your Heavenly Father, bring it to Him. That's what He said. Leave it there. Leave it there. Okay? You don't need to worry about it. But once you bring it there and leave it there, leave it there. And forevermore, how you doing today? Fantastic. Life is great. I got all of these things going on. It's fantastic. It's phenomenal. I'm making millions and millions of dollars. Really? You're making millions and millions of dollars? Well, no. But I'm faking it till I make it. Right? So, 9 characteristics of self-made millionaires. 1, they don't play the blame game. Okay? If you want more control of your life, your business, your income, you take more responsibility. They make decisions. What do you want for lunch today? Is like the hardest thing most people have to decide all day. I don't know. I was thinking Jimmy John's, but Subway. Oh, that's Subway. I'm not sure. Pizza. I'm going to have pizza. You got to make decisions quickly, okay? Now, there's something that happens. Have you guys ever heard, trust your gut? Did you know that you can train your gut to speak more to your brain so that your gut is more often right? Did you know that you can train your gut? Okay? There's a bunch of nerve endings in there, and they respond and they trigger to your brain waves against making decisions. And as you train your gut to make decisions that you follow through on, the more often it's right, the more you trust your gut. And if you read Jack Welch's book, Winning, who's Jack Welch? Former CEO of GE. Okay, they're like a gazillion, billion dollar, trillion dollar company. He was the CEO of this company. And he was asked in an interview by CNN, they said, Jack, how did you run the company so successfully? He said, I trusted my gut. He didn't cite Harvard education. He didn't cite advisors and counselors. He said, I trusted my gut. But he also got to a place where he knew his gut was right. Now, I'm going to give you something that's trivial and silly, but I want you to try it. Okay? How many of you are staying here at the hotel? Okay? Here's what you're going to do. When you push the button to go up, whoever you're standing with, I want you to say the following. Bet you $2 that's the door. There's 3 of them. Bet you $2 that's the door. And they're going to look at you like you're nuts, right? And then it's going to ding. And they're going to go, oh, you're a genius. And you're like, well, actually, there's a bank of numbers at the top, and it said 1. So, pretty good chance that was the door, okay? But we can train our gut by using it for these little trivial things. And then you can use it in business, and it will guide you. They trust their inner entrepreneurial genius. Do you guys want to know what inner entrepreneurial genius is? It's the willingness to be wrong. That's genius. Genius is the willingness to be wrong. I tell my kids all the time, you're a genius. And my son will say, Dad, what's a genius? I said, it means you're smarter than everybody else. He said, well, how did I get to be a genius? I said, because you're wrong all the time. He's 4. He didn't think that's funny either. Michelle Gunn. Who's working with Michelle Gunn? Okay, Michelle Gunn out of Bonnie Lake, Washington. She said the starting revelation is that this is the new way to access liquidity, speaking in reference to private money exchange. She says, with a qualifying deal, I can have money in days and a completed deal in months. This means we can acquire the deal flow we need to run a real estate investment business. And since we met Lee Arnold, we've added 14 properties. Some we have flipped, some we have kept as rentals. We have an expanding portfolio with lease option tenants and commercial properties. It is ingenious in its simplicity. It is changing the way that investors, mortgage brokers, realtors, construction-related trades can access money and keep their careers alive. Now, when Michelle Gunn hired me as her consultant, I flew over to Bonnie Lake, Washington. Now, at the time, she was running a dance studio, and she had some investment property. So I had her prepare her portfolio and her balance sheets and her cash flow statements prior to arriving there. And when I got there, I realized that she was hemorrhaging cash in her investments, in her rental properties, but they were free and clear. So how do you hemorrhage cash in investment properties? She bought too much property in a little area, and the property taxes were chewing up her income. I said, Michelle, you got to sell these properties. They're killing you. So we proceeded to sell off the investments that weren't doing well, and we went out and started buying new investments. I got there on a Tuesday. Michelle and I started working, and she actually brought her two sons, Houston and, what's the other one? Houston and Austin, thank you. And they came around with us, her and her mom and the two boys, and we went around the market. And we started tracking foreclosure properties, and we went to the auction that Friday in Washington. Auctions are every Friday at 10 a.m. We went to the auction that Friday. We picked up 3 houses in a period of about 15 minutes. And on those 3 houses, she made about $45,000. From there, she went back to the auction. And she was at our event in August, last August, up in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, for our Insider Wealth Summit. And she pulls me out of the room. We were in a room just like this. She's like, Lee, come here. We go outside. She's like, Lee, I need to know if you can get $680,000 in the next 10 minutes. I said, sure. What are we doing? She said, I'm buying a commercial property at auction. I said, okay, well, go ahead and buy it, Michelle. We'll figure out the funding. So she bought it. A year later, she just refinanced off the property. She got an appraisal for $1.7 on a building she paid $680,000 for. She has freed up over $1 million in liquidity, and guess what she's now going to do with it? Reinvest it. She's going to become a lender. So in a period of 24 months, she made over $1.3 million in liquid cash, not even talking about what she has made in appreciation and value in the other real estate deals that she's purchased. Would you say that her investment was worth the time? Okay. How many of you are ready to make that investment, knowing that I cost $150,000? If you're wondering, the right answer is... Your wife might hate me for a time, but in 24 months, she's going to love me, and you should be concerned. No, I'm kidding. Woodwards and Kings in Chico, California. Who's the tall, good-looking stud in the back of the screen there on the left? Regan. These are some of Regan's clients. They said, we finally have been able to pull the loose ends together that we couldn't before. We're making lots of offers. We have written contracts and have deals signed. So many pieces that we'd read about and heard about in all the seminars have finally come together. Get guidance so you can figure out where you're at, where you want to go, and where you'll be down the road. We've made a 5 or 10-year leap in the last 2 months based on the progress we have made since our mentorship. Was that a good use of their time? Would you like to springboard 10 years in 2 months? Are you going to do it by yourself? If you were, you would have already done it. Wouldn't you agree? If you were going to get where you planned to go by yourself, you would have already done it. So you've got to get somebody that's going to nail you to the ground and get you to produce and perform. Now, don't take that as a negative. Okay? I hire consultants all the time, and I consider myself to be a pretty motivated guy. But I don't want to make the same mistakes that everyone else has. I want to pay people to jump over those puddles of error so that I can do it right the first time. Because if you can avoid mistakes, you'll move forward much more quickly. So here are the 9 characteristics of self-made millionaires. Continued. Number 4, they focus on their core business. 5, they focus on marketing. And I want you to put a big circle around number 5. They focus on marketing. I said on day one, if your phone ain't ringing, you ain't getting paid. Your phone hasn't rang all week. Bill, can we get Bill a microphone, please? I told you it was coming, Bill. I told you. And I always tell the truth. Bill, you said something to me yesterday, which I found was fascinating, and it began with, Lee, I'm really mad at you. Go.
Okay, Lee helped me ruin my weekend. Some of you in the room will probably remember this ad that he advises us all to run. And you can run this anywhere you want to. It's very short. It says, investor with fixer homes will sell and carry a small contract, short term, with a decent down payment. Call Bill, XYZ 1234. Well, my consultant had told me a couple of weeks ago, when I mentioned I was going to do this, he told me, never put your real phone number in there. Get a Google voice number. I forgot that. And I hit the button that said, you know, send it or whatever, and it went. It went to several places. Craigslist was one of them. And so that was on Friday. I unfortunately did that on a Friday afternoon. So by Friday night, Saturday morning, I had already received about 8 phone calls. And I got to talk to these people. And they want houses over here, over there. They want 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, got to have a garage. And when can I see the house? Now, I'm sitting on 0 houses, okay? I have no houses at all. And what I realized is what he had done to me, or all of us, by doing this, this helps you build a buyer's list pretty fast. By the end of the weekend, by Monday morning, I had about 50 calls. And then by the time I left to come down here on Wednesday, I counted 69. So I got 69 people now waiting to hear from me for houses. Oh, and the second part of that ad, when they call, what's that you say, Lee? I'm currently out of inventory,
Yep.
but I get new inventory all the time. So I'm going to keep your name and your number. And when I get something that suits what you are looking for, I'll give you a call. And that's it.
Perfect. Give him a round of applause. Okay, this is what we as consultants, I'm a consultant, Regan's a consultant, Justin Puchar in the back is a consultant, Dana and Terry are consultants. Is Judith still here? Oh, she's out working on the offer. Okay, Judith is somebody that I personally consulted. Okay, consulting works because we're going to focus on the things that we know will get you paid. One thing you will never do with us while we are out in the field with you is attend a webinar or go to a real estate investment club, okay? Because we're going to focus on marketing. We're going to build a buyer's list of people that are ready to buy, and we're going to build a seller's list of people who are ready to sell. And then we're going to mail to them, and we're going to follow up, and we're going to call them, and we're going to call them religiously every other week until they finally do business with us. Do you have that same consistent regimen in your business? And if you don't, you know you need it. Why haven't you implemented it? Because you need to be held accountable. And that's okay. We all do. Why do you think Dean is here? Somebody told me the other day that they realized why I had Dean come join the team. And I said, well, why is that? They said, because Dean makes sure that you stay focused, which really made me mad, Dean, so we're going to talk later. But it's true. I have been much more focused since Dean came, because he keeps me focused on the things that I am best at, and he takes away everything that I'm not good at. And that allows me to perform at the highest level on the things that I'm great at. Craig Palasalma, who's that guy? Regan. He says, working with Regan has forced me outside of my comfort zone, allowing me to become more confident. It allowed me to face my fears head on and forced me to identify and remove the obstructions holding me back. It cut through a lot of the mystery of investing in real estate, got down to the nuts and bolts. It took the slow learning curve out of investing. If you don't have a mentor, you certainly need to get one. If you're serious, you need to get someone to help you through the process. It's just that simple. There isn't any reason at all that I shouldn't succeed after working with Regan. Bill Renard. Anybody recognize this guy? Is Bill here? Where'd Bill go? Bill, are you here? Bill Renard? He was on the bus today. Bill's a mentoring client. Former district attorney of the state of California, paying for consulting. He said, since getting involved, my wife and I have been able to fulfill a lifelong dream of purchasing a vacation home in Hawaii. We'll be able to furnish it and purchase another vehicle to use when we stay there. Our relationships with the business has provided us with many benefits besides just the money. This has been one of the best decisions we have made, and we look forward to the many new and exciting things we can achieve as part of this growing and expanding company. Does anybody want to be involved with our growing and rapidly expanding company? Okay? Because we want you to be involved. You, however, will choose the level of involvement. Number 7, they model themselves and their business after successful people and systems. They build a team of smart people because successful people know that there's never enough education. I'm curious. Do you think you will make more money by yourself or working with us? Okay? So I'm about to show you some numbers that are going to freak you out, just so you know. Okay? You must view the numbers as an investment, and what should you expect on an investment? A return. Okay? Now, the level of your investment dictates your return. Now, if I told you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., I'm going to be out in the rotunda of the hotel trading you a $5 bill for every $1 bill you bring me, how many dollar bills would you bring? Okay, now, just so we're all clear, that's not going to happen tomorrow morning. Now, the reason I want to make sure we are very clear is I was in Orlando and I had a woman in the audience saying, I'm so broke, I'm so destitute, I can't come up with any money, and I want it, but I can't afford it. And I said the same thing to this woman. And guess what she showed up with the next morning at 6 a.m. in the rotunda of the Crown Plaza Hotel in Orlando? 1,300 $1 bills. She went from broke to $1,300 in $1 bills overnight. Yeah, I was concerned when I saw a report on the news that morning that a strip club had been robbed. So, Joe and Sue McDonald, they're up in Connecticut. They said in the 3 days with Regan, I learned a lot about pre-foreclosures and how to structure deals. I learned how to make a lot of offers and how to not be afraid to put the lowball offers in and see where it takes. We actually had a couple of offers come through. Things are looking good. Side note, these one-on-one students have received 100% financing with Private Money Exchange on the 2 deals that they worked on with Regan, and they made over $30,000 in cash on their first transaction. Do we as a company do 100% financing? For some of you, we do, and I'll explain. Leonard Hayes, these last 3 days were phenomenal. I've been in the business for 19 years. You think you know it all, but no matter how experienced you are, there's always something extra you can learn. In these last 3 days, we have fine-tuned things in my business. Side note, Leonard has already done 2 loans through Private Money Exchange and is holding both for long-term cash flow by getting access to our 5-year investor note product. How many of you are aware of our 5-year investor note product? Okay? You get your short-term 12-month money from us. If you pay all your bills on time, we convert it to a 5-year. Leonard now has 2 rental properties as a result. So your next steps to entrepreneurial success are these. You must begin with the end in mind, says Stephen Covey. Beginning with the end in mind is the endowment of imagination and conscience. If you are the programmer, write the program. Decide what you're going to do with the time, talent, and tools you have to work with. And within my small circle of influence, I'm going to decide. So here's the structure. 1, get clarity of purpose. Define what you want to accomplish. 2, define the goal. Decide what action steps you're going to take to get what you want. 3, create an action plan with defined benchmarks. Reevaluate your progress constantly. And 4, choose a success consultant program to get you there. Decide which program will get you from your specific point A to point B. Now, beginning with the end in mind, our goal as a company is to deploy $1 billion to investors nationwide over the next 5 years. That's our company goal, to deploy $1 billion. That's billion with a B, okay? Billion. Now, in beginning with the end in mind, now we retract and we begin what has to be built to get there. So you must begin with the end in mind. So what is your end? And when is your end? And I'm not talking about the end of your life. Just talking, when does the goal end? Okay? So where in 12 months from right now are you going to be? And what do you need to do tomorrow to be where you need to be in 12 months? You with me? Okay? So the one-on-one consulting with Regan. As I mentioned, I charge $150,000 for the same thing that Regan does for $49,995. You get 3 days with Regan Richmond, who has personally worked with me over the last 9-10 years. He's made himself a millionaire. He flies around on his own airplane. Regan goes out because he's much smarter than I am. Why do I cost 3 times as much? Because I don't want to go. That's a true story. I was at an event like 4 years ago, and I said, you know what? I would like to help some of you, and I'm going to charge X number of dollars. And people paid it, which meant I had to travel and leave my family. So the next event I came back and I said, now it's this much money. And people paid it. And I went, oh, good grief. So now it's $150,000. Please don't pay it. Because then I got to travel. But if you must have me, I am for sale, but it's expensive. Regan, $49.95, 12 one-on-one mentoring sessions with Regan. He will then spend 3 days in your market, in your office, working with you in the field. After Regan leaves your place of business and your market, you will get 100% financing on all of the qualified deals that you identify. Here's why. Regan will personally sign off on the loan because he's been to your market. He's seen your ability to produce and perform, and he knows the kind of business operations that you run. So that investment gets you access to 100% financing. Now, if you have 100% financing on qualifying deals, how many deals can you buy if you don't have to have cash to buy them? A lot. Okay? Now, we did that because I know that $50,000 is a significant investment. I know that. And some of you are thinking, well, Lee, I can't pay that and still have money to do deals. I'm aware. That's why you're going to pay it, and we're going to give you the money to do the deals. Because we need to train you to consume more cash. What is our goal as a company in the next 5 years? $1 billion. What must I have to deploy that much capital? Trained experts who borrow millions of dollars a year. Where are my trained professionals who are going to borrow millions of dollars a year? You promise? Okay? Because if I can get all of you borrowing $1 million a year, I'm deploying $100 million, which means I'm 1/10 of the way to the goal just with you guys. Are you okay with that? You promise you'll borrow $1 million a year or more? 2? It'll cost you dinner. Also, we have just come out with our pre-foreclosure REO and discounted note hot sheet. Now, this is only available to our one-on-one consulting clients, and let me tell you what it is. When we as a company fund loans, some people choose not to pay us back, which means we have to do what? Or close. So when we have a slow pay or a no pay or a potential REO coming online, every other Friday we will be sending out a hot sheet with these properties. You guys that have been through the mentoring program, the consulting program, you get to buy off of the hot sheet. So those of you who have said, man, I'd love to have direct access to a bank where I can get the REOs and the short sales and the foreclosures without having to go through realtors and everyone else, that would be awesome, right? That's what I'm giving you, access to the hot sheet. You get both of these things only after Regan has come out and spent the 3 days with you. Everybody clear on that? Now, If $49,997 is not in your capabilities at the moment, you can also go to a $24,995 mentoring program with one of our other mentors. Now, the discounted price does not mean that they are less valuable. We simply had to price Regan at $49.95 because he runs the entire program. So all of the mentors answer to Regan. So for Regan to be out in the field costs the company a significant amount of money in lost productivity. So Regan has mentors and consultants that have worked with us, trained with us, Justin being one of them. Justin in the back, say hi, Justin. Okay, you guys met Justin today. You also met Dana and Terry Claft in the back. They are mentors for us, and we have mentors spread out throughout the country. So we match you up with a mentor who knows your market best. When you get enrolled in the program, you will have a consultative call with Regan. He will identify what your goals are, and then he will pair you up with the mentor that is going to work best for your personality type. Okay? So we're not going to stick you with somebody that you don't get along with. We want a nice, complementary team thing happening. Okay? So we'll get you the best person for your business. At the $24,995 level, you still get access to the pre-foreclosure REO hot sheet, and you still get 100% financing on your qualifying deals. Is that going to help you in your market? Okay? Now, I know that that for some of you is also a significant sum of money, which is why we have our Gold Inner Circle program, which is $14,995. Now, this is telephone mentoring. It's telephone consulting. Nobody flies out to your house. Now, to burst the pink elephant in the room, I know that some of you have done mentoring with other companies. I know that some of you have done phone consulting. You have had mentors come out to your town. But you've got to ask yourself this question. What was their ongoing value in your success? Zero. You paid them the money. They showed up. C'est la vie. Good luck. Why in the world would we want you to succeed? So you borrow more money, okay? I'm not interested in a transactional relationship with you. I'm interested in the next 30, 40 years with you. So how many properties you're going to do this year and next year and the next year and the next year? I want to lend you money on every single one of them. But my goal for you is this. You make a couple of $1,000,000 and you come back and do what? Mentor's good. I like that one. A lot of our clients have. What else could you do? Consult or lend. Okay? Through the circle of wealth, you can come back with the millions you've made and become a lender. And now you're making passive income. If you generate $5 million over the next 10 years, and in 10 years you decide I'm done in active real estate investing, I just want passive now, what is a 10% rate of return on $5 million? $500,000. Could you retire on that? No? Then grow it to $10 million. What's 10% return on $10 million? $1 million a year. Now, some of you, you might have to drive a domestic-made vehicle. So you have to retire with $1 million. What's 10% on $1 million? $100,000. Okay? Let us get you to the point where you are confident and competent and you know what to buy, when to buy. Let us give you the money and the capital to do it, as much as you need until you've got your own capital. Now you can pay cash for real estate, or you can come back and lend it through our channels and join the circle of wealth. That is the interest for our company in your success. There's not another company out there like us that does what we do. They're only interested in getting your money, sending some untrained, unexpert person to your house and saying, good luck. We're sending you the best our company has so that you can borrow, and then come back and lend and lend and lend and lend and lend. Okay? Now, with these two programs, the $14,997 as well as the $4,995, if you need some time to come up with the rest, if you'd really like the $24,997 number, you can purchase one of these $4,995 or the $14,997. And we'll give you 30 days or 60 days. You tell Doreen or Roxanne what you need, and we'll give you time to come up with the remainder. Many of our consulting clients either have to pull equity out of a property, they've got to refinance something, they need to sell something, they need to convert a 401k into a self-directed so they can access the funds and get the liquidity to invest in the program. And we know that those things take time, okay? But you'll need to get with Roxanne or with Doreen, and she will walk you through the process and get you going. Can we pass out those forms, please, just so everybody has them? Our inner circle helps serious entrepreneurs overcome doubt, conquer the analysis paralysis, get over the naysayers, both personal and professional, develop the ability to not worry about mistakes, figure out what already works, not waste time on reinventing the wheel, put systems into place, automated and repeatable, and avoid timely and costly mistakes. Would that be helpful? Okay? So here's what you need to do. Over the next couple of days, the back table, there's a sign-up sheet. On the sign-up sheet, you will put your name and you will get a time to sit down and meet with Doreen. I told you yesterday when I introduced Doreen, to get access to our mentoring program, you got to go through Doreen. Because if you don't have the desire, the commitment, the drive, and the passion, we won't let you into the program, okay? You have to convince us that you're going to succeed. Because if you're just going to spend money and do nothing, I don't want you. Because when you give us all that money and you do nothing, guess what you then do? You go on the internet and you say nasty things. And I'd rather you didn't do that, therefore I'd rather not have your money. Okay? So, if Doreen thinks you're a good fit, allows you access to one of these spots, do it. Our inner circle helps serious entrepreneurs to arm your business with research and methods that increase success levels, give your business distinction. They stop operating on outdated, obsolete models. Lead in personal and professional relationships. Leverage and form alliances with joint ventures and joint venture partners. Swipe and deploy what's working in the market and have ongoing force and focused thinking and brainstorming sessions. I love the inner circle because we know who our consulting clients are. We know who Regan has worked with. We know who Justin has worked with. We know who Dana and Terry have worked with. And we know what market you're in. And so we will connect you. We will plug you in together so that you can get deals done. So no longer do you have to worry about, where do I find a partner? Who would be a good partner for me in this deal? We'll help you find the deal. And if you don't have the financial capacity to pull it off, we'll plug you in with somebody who will help you do it. Because we only get paid when you fund deals. So we are transaction engineers. And we're going to make the transaction work. We're going to get it done on your behalf. And we're going to help you solidify your action plans, foster local and national strategic alliances, uncover the fastest and most lucrative real estate transactions, and implement new marketing techniques that automate and streamline your business. On the page in front of you, on the pamphlet that is in front of you, I would like you to take out your pen, and circle the package that you want. Don't worry about the money. Poor people say, I can't. Rich people say, how can I? If money was not an issue, which package would you choose? If money was not an issue, which package would you choose? Now, I have built a career on figuring out where to get the money. I simply need to know what I'm getting the money for. If I find a good real estate deal, I package it up and I shop it around and I find people that give me the money. You guys want to do one of these packages. We know that. There's not a person in this room who doesn't want to take advantage of one of these packages. We know that. But some of you are struggling with, where am I going to get the money? You got to get with Doreen. She will help you uncover money that you didn't know was available. And we do it time after time after time. But we got to know, are you committed to letting us help you succeed? And if you are, we're going to be your champion. We're going to support you every step of the way. And if you're not, it's better you don't do the program. Again, don't give us your money and do nothing. You've done that with other companies. I don't want to be those companies. If you know that this is what you've been looking for and this is it, then do not leave here before the end of this weekend without getting involved in one of these levels. You guys with me? Did you guys have a great day today? Give yourselves a round of applause.